So traffic is pretty bad on the Academy because tomorrow, June 1st, is the Academy graduation. And there's a lot of traffic, but that's not the point of this video or vlog entry or whatever you want to call it. For my lunch, we're going to be doing the stairs on the Academy, which is this. Yep. Yeah, so before I go on my adventures, I need to put sunscreen on because even though I am a minority and tan, and I naturally tan in the sun, not in Colorado Springs, or not in Colorado for that matter, because we are basically under a microscope or a magnifying glass, and I burn. In fact, I think over the past weekend or something like that, I've got sun rash or heat rash, which is fun and very itchy. So yeah, so this is why we're putting on sunscreen, and thank goodness I have sunscreen in my car, because I'm probably gonna get burnt and my skin's probably gonna get worse than what it already is. And yeah. And I'm also waiting for traffic to go down, because this is more or less like a chicken crossing the road kind of situation right now. Here's my watch. Okay, so let me restart my vlog, because after I did the stairs, I sat in my car for a little bit to cool down, and then I started like literally word vomiting, and I'm like, am I even making any sense right now? It's like when you are done working out and you feel like you like have so many thoughts and you want to talk and you just kind of word vomit and you're like, am I making any sense whatsoever? And then you realize that you weren't. So yeah, that's where it was. Let me get a drink of water. Okay, so while I was doing my workout, climbing up and down the stairs, I did like 4 rounds, so yeah, like 8 climbing descensions, whatever. I think I'm not making sense, but well, yeah, anyway. But while I was working out, I was thinking about how I'm doing with fasting. I've been fasting for about a month now, and you kind of get inundated when you want to start a process or you want to learn more, and then you Google it. Like, there's so much information, and oftentimes you find information that is very misleading or not correct, or they're like really extreme and such like that, right? So I decided to start looking up books to read, because that's been one of my things. I've been reading a lot lately, and I wanted to find a really good fasting book to kind of read and get some tips and tricks on how I should be fasting. And I found Fast This Way by Dave Asprey. I think he's like one of the leading names or spokespersons for fasting, although I mean, I know fasting is like not a new thing or a new trend or anything like that, but he's one of those bigger people that are known for fasting. He's also the creator of Bulletproof Coffee, which I had no idea what Bulletproof Coffee was until I read his book. I thought Bulletproof Coffee was like another brand of like veteran owned coffee and stuff like that. But anyway, so learned a lot from him. Learned that there's like different styles as far as like fasting, because before I went into fasting, I was thinking that fasting was straight 24 hours and stuff like that. The traditional Muslim fasting, as in you don't eat during the day or you don't even drink water. But I've realized, which should not be like hidden knowledge or anything, but there are different types. So I started off with like 16 and 8, so 16 fasting, and I usually start after I eat dinner. So I stop eating at 8 o'clock at night, and then I carry on at lunch. And the first couple of days was kind of hard. It was like a lot of mind games and everything. Like my body kind of telling me that, oh, if you don't eat, then you're gonna pass out. So it was a lot of that, and then a lot of physical like hungers, like your stomach starts growling and stuff, but then after a while it calmed down. And then I started experimenting with 20 hours to 4 hours of eating, and I think I've been doing that for like maybe 2 weeks off and on. I don't do it all the time, but I would do 1 meal a day, and I've switched now. I think I've realized a schedule that I want to go to, and so Monday through Friday when I'm at work, I'll do a 20 to 4 fasting. So eat dinner at 8, or stop eating at 8, and then resume eating at 4 the next day, because I really don't need to eat at work, if that makes sense. And like me not like focusing so much on eating and everything like that helps with me going to the gym, focusing more on myself, like getting mental clarity, if that makes sense. And then I don't fast at all during the weekends, although I will say that because I'm not fasting on the weekends, but I am fasting on the weekdays, it has helped me curb my appetite, because I have this habit of overeating. Like, food is very delicious, so I would like overeat. But now with fasting, it kind of helped me with appreciating food and like understanding and actually tasting the intricacies as far as like food goes. Like, I could taste the salt and the sweetness, and some things like candy, like I appreciate candy, but I won't eat it as often anymore, because it's just like not really something that I want, And before I started fasting, I always had this like commonly held belief that I needed to eat something before and after, and if I don't, then I'm gonna get dizzy and I'm gonna pass out. And I think my biggest fear was passing out. So I would eat, and it didn't even matter what I ate, which is terrible, right? Like, I would eat like Snicker bars and everything like that, so I had sugar in my body and I won't pass out. Well, with fasting, actually the past 2 days has been the first times that I've ever worked out while fasting, and it was kind of scary, because I was afraid that commonly held belief that, oh my gosh, if I don't eat or I don't have anything in my stomach, then I'm gonna pass out. Well, I have learned from Dave Asprey that the body is pretty awesome if you think about it. Like, it has like fail-safe modes to maintain itself, and talking about survival, because if you think about like our primitive days, like our ancestors and stuff, there have been times where they wouldn't eat for a couple of days because they were foraging. Like food was not excessively or readily available for our ancestors, so the body had to figure out a way to sustain energy and all that stuff. So I now have confirmed within myself that yes, it is possible to work out while fasting. But I will say that my workouts, I'm starting off slow. I know like a good amount of people, they can like work really hard and strenuous while fasting, but I'm not really there yet. So yesterday when I worked out, I did like a low pace, like jog, walk kind of thing on the treadmill. Usually like when I'm on the treadmill, I run really hard. But I did a slow pace and I felt pretty good about it. And then of course today I did the stairs, and that was pretty strenuous itself. Like, there were a couple of times where I felt really wheezy and I had to catch myself, but I'm fine now. And I also, just in case, I also had a protein bar if like I started feeling really woozy, or I was starting to like have the dizziness and everything like that I usually had after working out when I didn't fast. So another thing that I was thinking about during my workout was how fasting has affected me. And I did talk about how it has made me appreciate food a little bit more, like actually eat food mindfully. I know it's like one of those buzzwords and stuff, but I have been eating mindfully instead of like, oh, I have to eat because if I don't, then I'm gonna pass out. And one thing that I did a lot was, like I said before, is I would overeat. And when I feel like when I overeat, I don't really appreciate the tastes or anything like that. So fasting did help me with that. It's also helped me drink more. One of the things that I remember reading from Fast This Way is more more often than not, it's not that you're really hungry or your body craves food or needs food. It's more or less that you're dehydrated. So I've noticed that I've been increasing my intake of water, which is really important because I live in Colorado Springs, and higher elevation means I get dehydrated really fast. So it's been helping me a lot with maintaining my thirst levels. And there was another thing that I couldn't remember, but like I always think of it when I like turn off the camera. I'm like, oh, yeah, but eventually it will happen. It'll come to mind, and then I guess one of my future vlogs I'll actually mention it. But so the reason why I am fasting is because I want to get down to 120. So right now last time I weighed myself, I was like 130, which honestly speaking is kind of amazing because like after having Teddy, I've been maintaining 135. When I was pregnant with him, I was 140. So, okay, I'm slowly going down, and I understand with age, it's gonna be a little bit harder to like shed the weight and all that stuff like that. So, I'm trying my hardest. And the reason why I chose 120 is because that's when I felt like I am my healthiest, if that makes sense. I did tell Patrick that I wanted to weigh between 115 and 120, and he gave me like a side eye, like I'm freaking crazy. So maybe 115 is a little bit more extreme. So 120 is like really my comfort level. Like as long as I can get to 120, that's fine. But I don't want to maintain 120. I don't want to be there forever. I just want to get down to there so I can at least have peace of mind and feel like I'm healthy in my standards. And then once I get there, I want to start working out, like, you know, some weightlifting, maintaining, like I want to be lean. I don't feel that I've been healthy per se. I mean, yeah, you look at me, I'm like skinny, but that's really just in my genes. Like my parents are naturally skinny, my grandparents are naturally skinny as well. So if I were to be fat or obese, it would just be more or less of me being chubby. Like it's not really gonna show. But I can feel the difference, and I can feel my energy being depleted and all that stuff, and I don't want to be that way. I also have like a lot of like fleeting goals and aspirations. Like Patrick and I kind of entertained the idea of doing like body competitions, but like I don't know, I think I would want to do it just because. And the reason why we're saying that is because one of our friends is actually going through the motions, and I'm like, yeah, I want to be able to be like, I did that. But then I also know that those things kind of get a little bit addicting. Like you want to win and you're in competition and all that stuff like that. So I don't know, I'll figure out what I want to do once I get into like a nice health routine and all that stuff. But one thing that I really want to do in life is to run a marathon, and there is one in September or like sometime in the fall that I have to sign up for. I mean, I've been running a lot, and I think the only reason why I've been running a lot for my goal is because every year, I'm actually in the year bracket for doing my physical training or physical fitness test for the military. In the Air Force, if you maintain 90% or above, you only test every year. But if you're like 75 to 89%, you have to test every 6 years, or every 6 months. So I want to try to get 100%, but the problem is I don't get 100% because of my cardio. Like, I am not a fast runner. I think in order to max out points for running, you have to like run lesser than 10 minutes and 41 seconds. Like, that is not possible for me because I'm not a runner, but I do have to train if I want to get to that point. Fortunately, we also have the shuttle runs, which is a little bit easy, but I have heard that it's easier to make a 90% or 90 and above on the shuttle run than to make 100. And it's easier to make, I think it like flips backwards. It flips backwards for the run. Like, I have heard that it's easier to make 100 on that, but it's hard to make a 90, which does not make sense to me, but whatever. So yeah, so those are my goals. That's why I'm fasting and all that stuff like that. I think I'm feeling pretty good right now, so I have a feeling that I might not need to eat my protein bar until 4 o'clock, which would be fantastic. So anyway, I think this whole thing is a blog in itself, or a vlog in itself. So I think I'm just gonna post this, and yeah. So I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.